Hey guys, this is Melody, the massage therapist, and this is Bob, and he's an Ironman. How many times have you done it?
Ironman, I've done 5.
5 Ironman. So I'm gonna pick his brain while he's getting a massage tonight, but it's gonna be on like voiceovers, so it's gonna be while I'm filming him swimming. So enjoy Bob and his story. He's a great story. Bye. How long do you stretch before you start a workout in a day?
For swimming, usually just a couple minutes.
A couple minutes?
Uh-huh.
And then how many laps will you do this morning?
I probably do 200.
200 laps. And so it's still summer, and Ironman is in November?
November, yes.
And so for now, you're doing 20 hours a week of workout?
Correct.
And so as it gets closer, how many more hours a week will you do?
I will push up to probably about 30 to 32 hours a week.
Wow. And so 200 laps is how many miles?
It is 2.5 miles.
And then, so in an Ironman, the 3...
Venues.
Thank you. What are they?
You swim 2.4 miles, and then you bike 112 miles, and then you run a marathon.
So
26.2 miles.
2. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to leave you alone. Have fun stretching.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob.
All right.
Okay.
See you tonight.
See you tonight. Have fun. Hey, Bob. How old were you when you did your first Ironman?
I was 50 years old.
What made you want to do an Ironman?
I've always been pretty athletic. Growing up as a child, I grew up as a rodeo cowboy. I rode bucking bulls from the time I was young till I was 25 years old. I love challenges. I love being able to do things that probably a lot of people say you can't do. And so I started doing triathlons when I was 34 years old, and gradually progressed to the point where I thought it would be awesome to do an Ironman. So I said I'm up for the challenge, and I trained for it, and
Here you are.
I did it.
And so what was your quickest time in the Ironman?
14 hours and 13 minutes.
And when was that one?
That was in 2012.
And was that your last Ironman?
It was.
And what made you want to do it? Do you think you'll do it again after this time?
It's possible. It's possible, you know, it just depends on how things go, you know, but...
So when do you start gearing up for, okay, I'm going to do the Ironman? You said basically a year beforehand?
Yes, usually it's at least a year.
And how many hours a week do you train right now?
I'm training about 20 hours a week.
And then you said about closer to a couple of months before the race, it's 32-ish?
32 plus. Some weeks more, some weeks maybe a little less.
And then the week before the Ironman, which is in November, you start tapering down.
Actually, 3 weeks before.
3 weeks before. And how many hours a week do you train at that point?
I'll still be training probably 3 weeks before. I'll probably still be training somewhere between 17, 18 hours a week. And then I'll drop off to probably 2 weeks before, probably around 10. And then the week of, probably no more than 3 or 4 hours.
For the whole week?
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you like bulk up with food? What's your eating habits? The week before, the day of?
You need to keep your diet consistent. Your body functions on what you feed it, and it adapts to it. So you never want to change your diet. You never want to raise it way up or weigh it way down. Make sure you're getting enough calories. But whatever you're eating, you need to stay consistent, because you cannot perform at that level if you change your diet. Your body needs to be very, very consistent in what's going on with it, with everything you do. And one of the really important things that you need to do for everybody, but that you need to do if you're doing that, is stay hydrated.
So how much water do you drink a day?
I drink for sure about 150 ounces. But on the days that I train hard, if I ride my bike long and run, I probably get somewhere between 250 to 280 ounces.
Awesome. So when you're at your peak training and you're doing your 32 or more hours a week, what's a typical day? How many miles on the bike, how many miles on running, and how many laps type of thing? Do you do all three in the same day?
Sometimes, but very rarely. It's more like normally Monday is always a day off. That's a rest day. Tuesday is a swim day. Wednesday is a bike and a run day. And usually on Wednesday, I try to do some hill work on the runs, and definitely hill work on the bike. A lot of times I'm on South Mountain, climbing to the towers, San Juan. Kid climb as much as 4,000 or 5,000 feet on the bike. Thursday is usually always a long swim day.
And when you say long swim, how many laps is that?
You can say it either way. It's 200 to 250 laps, which could be 2.5 to 3 miles. And then I come out of the pool and I get on a bike and ride for at least 10, 12, 15 miles. And then I try to do maybe some core strength work, and also lots of good stretching, maybe some yoga and some breathing exercises. Friday is usually a run day. Saturday is probably the longest day of the week as far as training. Depending on what I'm doing, I'm going to get anywhere from 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110 miles on the bike.
Wow.
And then I always try to come back and run behind that. Not too long usually, depending on the time of the year and how hot it is. I'll get 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 miles on a run after getting off the bike. And then Sunday, I usually try to get up real early and do a long run. And that can be anywhere from 7 to 10 to 15 to 18 miles.
Before going to church?
Yeah.
And then the day of the race, where is the run and the swim and the bike ride?
Well, this is going to be Ironman Arizona, so it'll be Tempe Town Lake. We'll swim in the lake.
And it's you already said
2.4 miles. And then the bike will be, I think it'll be, and it has been in the past, well, you'll bike out of Tempe Town Lake and go to up 87 Beeline Highway to Fountain Hills.
And they block the road totally, or is there?
Yeah, they have
lane
one side of the road that they block off for traffic to go both ways on the bicycle, and you'll end up going to Fountain Hills 3 times on the bike from Tempe Town Lake.
And there's hills and.
It's climbing all the way from pretty much once you get on 87 Beeline from McDowell to Fountain Hills. It's climbing. Pretty much, it's not steep, but it's gradual all the way up.
Right.
And then, depending on the day, if the wind blows, it can blow in your face. Sometimes both ways.
Wow.
And then the run is typically around Tempe Town Lake.
So you literally take you drive to Tempe Town Lake, drop your bike off at a certain spot, and someone watches them, all the bikes?
Yes, it's in a transition area.
And then you swim, go to the swim start, and you cross the lake or go back and forth? And then
No.
your bicycle is at the end of
the swim.
the swim. You get on your bike, you bike all the way to Fountain Hills and do it 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you go to Fountain Hills, go back to Tempe Town Lake, then Fountain Hills, then back to Tempe Town Lake?
Yes.
And then, where's the end of the bicycle part? Is it at Tempe Town Lake and then you start
Yes.
running?
Right.
And then where do you run?
Typically, you run around the lake and 3 to 3.5 times. You start at Mill Avenue, and typically you'll go east, across and cross over on the Mill Avenue Bridge, and then come back on the north side and go to Priest, and then up Priest, back to south side, and you do 3 to 3.5 links of that.
And that's about the 14, 15. Can you figure your hours yet? Probably not till you're closer to the race, right?
Exactly.
And how did you figure out how to train? Did you talk to people or get a trainer or?
I talked to people, but I'd been doing triathlons for so long, I knew pretty much what you needed to do. But because this is endurance racing, you have to make sure that you're eating the proper diet, that you're eating enough calories.
And you get checked by the doctor before you do it, or?
Pretty much, you know your body, you know what it's doing. I train on a heart rate monitor and try to keep my heart rate at a certain beats per minute,
Right.
So, and ideally you like to train at about a 70% of your max heart rate. So you're building strength.
Oh, and keeping your heart rate lower.
Right, you're building strength, but you're not breaking your body down so bad, because when you train at really high heart rate, it really breaks your muscles and things down. It's harder to recover from it.
Right.
Especially when you're training, day after day and long miles.
Wow. Wait, so it's the end of the run and you're back at Tempe Town Lake,
Mm-hmm.
and you pick up your bike. Do you drive home or does your wife come and get you?
No, I drive home.
And then what happens when you get home?
Well, typically, what I've always done at the Ironman is I like to hang around and cheer the other runners on and other, people competing. I usually stay till midnight and cheer, all the other competitors on. It is awesome to see people cross the finish line.
Wow.
So we're screaming and yelling and cheering them on. It's just it's a fun time.
That's really great. Oh wait, I know a question. What was the oldest guy or oldest person? Did you say there was an 80-something-year-old man that did Ironman?
Yeah, I think he was probably 84.
Wow. And then, so what's your regimen the next day after the Ironman?
Typically you get up really early.
Do you just pass out when you go to bed?
You're pretty wired, because you're on, pretty much you're pretty euphoric when you cross the finish line because it's a big day.
Totally.
So you're pretty wired and you kind of sleep, but you might sleep for an hour or two and you wake up and you sleep for an hour or two. And then typically you will go back to the race the next morning early and go to the race tent and talk to people. And then if you decide to, sometimes you'll sign up for the race the next year because
That's amazing. And then you go days without you rest your body for days and you...
Yeah, you're going to get maybe in a pool and swim a little bit.
Uh-huh.
But your muscles are pretty beat up and your body's pretty beat up.
And are you super hungry the next day?
You are.
Yeah. You have a nice big hearty, or many little meals throughout the day?
Yeah, because you burn, in an Ironman, you're going to burn somewhere between 11,000 and 12,000 calories.
Wow.
And so, and if you're doing what you need to do, you try to get down about somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500 calories during the race.
Wow.
Because if you don't, you're probably not going to finish.
Wow.
Your body's just going to run out of energy.
Right. Collapse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much, Bob. Is there any words of encouragement you would want to give anybody that would want to potentially try out for Ironman?
Yeah, I think everybody needs to know that, anything's possible if you believe. And for me, because I'm a strong believer in Jesus Christ, I have a special scripture that I love, and it's Philippians 4:13. It says, I can do all things through Jesus Christ who strengthens me. And so I would share that with people, but if you're not a believer, there's a lot of things that you can do if you just simply believe and you're willing to commit and work hard for it. So I believe that all things are possible, but I put my faith in God because I know He's in total control. So, and I feel blessed that I can do what I do. And, I hope in some small way I can encourage other people to be successful at whatever they do. And it doesn't have to be an Ironman. It's just part of life, You can make a difference in people's lives by what you do. I want to share with you that, our tagline at work is we beautify the world. And because I'm a landscape contractor, we plant trees and plants, and we get to touch people that we may never meet, but we make a difference in their lives. So I encourage everybody in some small way to do something good for other people and beautify the world. You can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.